The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
It's quite obvious that Rick Tocchet is the biggest hockey nerd in the NHL. And that's why, yes, that's why Philip Hronek is going to be a huge part of the success of the Vancouver Canucks power play. What?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's giving you your Vancouver Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen, that's B-H-A-W-A-N at the end, and one love to you and you, and you and you, and you and you, because you're here, right? You're here with us on Locked On Canucks, the show that gives you your Canucks every day, a show that's brought to you by Game Time. Yes, Game Time is that place where you get your last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use code LOCKEDON. Yes, Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. And you may need to use that code ASAP, right? Because the Vancouver Canucks, they're playing fake games. Well, sort of fake games, right? What is a preseason game? More on that in a couple of minutes. But man, oh man, the regular season is right there. And yeah, use Game Time, save some money, and buy a hot dog and shove those hot dogs in your mouth. It's 2024. Speaking of which, man, it cannot be 2023 again. Well, 2023/2024. It can't be last season again when it comes to the power play and its success for your Vancouver Canucks, because the power play last year was ass. It was horrible. You know, we talk about all these things about, oh, if we had Demko, we would have beaten the Oilers. Oh, if Pettersson woke up, we would have beaten the Oilers. Yo, if Quinn Hughes and JT Miller took care of business on the power play in that series, we would have played Dallas a couple days later. It's just the truth. The power play was an absolute killer in the wrong way, in the deadly way for your Vancouver Canucks. And on today's episode, we'll be talking about how to fix it. And Trevor Beggs, who will join us probably in the next couple of minutes, had this bizarre idea on how to do so. And maybe Rick Tocchet will be listening. And would this bizarre idea involve the likes of Daniel Sprong? Okay, look at this comment from Infamous, okay? Saying Daniel Sprong's goal was disgusting. Also saying that the OT goal by Jake DeBrusk was disgusting again. And look at this by Kurt, okay? Kurt saying that Daniel Sprong is so dangerous offensively. And man, oh man, does Daniel Sprong play a role on the Vancouver Canucks and their power play success, right? Great shot, great offensive instincts. You got to keep in mind that this guy is still at a prime age in this thing called his life, playing on a one-year deal, getting paid nothing. And that's going to offend some people. But look, the guy puts up a lot of points. He scores some goals. And look at what he did yesterday. A pretty damn good offensive player. And once again, this guy gets paid $42 to play in the NHL. He's going to be fighting for a new contract, aka doing his best to make that financial freedom type of money forever and ever and ever and ever, okay, for generations to come, which means we're going to get the best out of him. And yeah, we saw that goal last night, coast to coast, like buttered toast, right? Is that a Tom Larshide thing? I think so. Doing his thing. Cutting through the defense, tying the game with 14 seconds left. One of the goals of the preseason, if not the goal of the preseason. Heck, that would be one of the goals of the year. It was beautiful. We also saw him, use that shot last night. Look dangerous the whole game. And if you put that together with the fact that Jonathan Lekkerimäki, yes, Lekkerimäki, it has been good. But not great, not stand outish completely. There's still more than like a 50% chance that, yes, Daniel Sprong is the guy playing with Pettersson and DeBrusk. So the confidence, the offense can be there for that guy. And again, is he a tool on the power play unit? And how is that possible, right? You look across the league, right? Most teams, most elite teams, right? they use one power play unit. And if that's the case with the Vancouver Canucks, you look at DeBrusk, Besser, Miller, Patterson, and Hughes, and you say, you know what? You guys stay out there for 90 seconds. Try getting it done. Let's not worry about power play unit number 2. But man, oh man, as Begsy alluded to on a phone call 8 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, okay? He's currently in the washroom right now. I ate some butter chicken last night with sour cream, okay? I didn't have rice. Do the math. But that dude, Begsy, talking about how the Canucks should potentially use 2 power play units next season and split up that PP1 unit that we all dream about, that we also all want more from, right? We all want a lot more from Besser, Hughes, Patterson, and Miller, and now DeBrusk. But what happens if you maybe take Patterson off that unit and give him to power play unit number 2, quote unquote, and you load up Hronek at the point, put Sprong on that unit as well. When Josh was back, put him in front of the net. Höglander, do the math. There's some players here. Is that the way to fix the Canucks power play? By spreading it out? Because here's the thing, right? If Sprong has that good of a shot, and more notably, the Canucks power play, and that unit, that dream unit, is still struggling and not firing in training camp or this preseason, you know what I'm saying? There's a good chance that they got to experiment some more and try some other things out. And what if Patterson is on his own unit? Does he get the puck more? Obviously, it's less on Hughes' stick. It's less on Miller's stick. Maybe he can be more of a dictator on the power play, right? I feel as if on PP1, he's more of a one-timer option only based on how good Miller and Hughes are with the puck. So spreading it out a more beautiful thing. Hey, if you put Patterson on his own unit and he's the quarterback of the power play along the half boards, what does that do for a guy like Filip Hronek, who we talked about yesterday too? Right? That one-timer. Could you potentially put Quinn Hughes out for 2 minutes and have him on 2 units, right? You have Hughes, Hronek, Patterson, Sprong, and Joshua in front of the net. Could something like that work out? Because that's the other thing too, right? We talk about Sprong's shot. Bro, last time I checked, good hockey teams, really good hockey teams, right? They have a lethal option at the point when it comes to, delivering a one-timer, a slap shot. Doing that. And if you're not caring much about power play unit number 2, they're not really caring much about or trying to develop the efficiency that could come off of Filip Hronek's stick off a one-timer. We've seen it a couple times. He can deliver a heavy shot. So let us know in the comments below or in the live chat. Do you see the Vancouver Canucks using 2 power play units this season? And why do you think it's such a lost art? I feel as if no team does this. No good team does this. I'm not the math guy. I'm not the stat guy. I'm not the data guy, right? Trevor would be using Google right now. But again, sour cream and butter chicken at the same time. That must be a white people thing, okay? Unreal. He said he didn't have rice. Bro, sour cream is not rice. Where am I going with this? I don't think it's a bad idea. Now, we'll play devil's advocate. There is something extremely sexy about DeBrusk, Besser, Miller, Patterson, and Hughes being dynamic, right? There's potential for that unit to be the second best unit in the NHL. I don't know if there's a chance for them to be the first, right? Because Draisaitl, McDavid, Bouchard, Nugent Hopkins, Zach Hyman, they figured this ish out, right? They got this on lock. And then you mentioned the 5 names that I just mentioned on the blue and green, right? the Big Five, if they figure it out, it could be a beautiful thing. Could DeBrusk replace what Horvat was doing a couple years ago in the bumper? While Besser still cleans up the mess. Yes, cleans up the mess in front of the net, which he's been, showcasing his ability to do so efficiently over his last 40 goals. Pretty much replaced Kuzmenko, who we'll also mention in a couple minutes because we're talking about Daniel Sprong tonight, right? That's what we're doing. Anyways, that first unit, that dream first unit, if they're given another chance to get it right ASAP, I think they have to do it again ASAP, or Rick Tocchet and his hockey nerd brain is going to find a way to split these units up and split Pettersson up away from Hughes, away from Miller, more notably. I could definitely see Hughes play on both units, and something else is going to have to give. Because this power play and this skill set that the Canucks have up front have to figure it out on special teams. And it's ironic, too, right? Because you look back and you look at how the season went, and it went in so many phases for the Vancouver Canucks last year. And during the playoffs, I'm not going to say the penalty kill was perfect, but it was a lot better. A lot better. A lot better than the power play. It tried to do the most against the Oilers' power play, while the Canucks still had chance after chance after chance on their own power play to do their thing. And what did they do? Constantly just failed. Remember, Game 7, 4-minute power play at the end of the first period. What happened? All momentum and all the air was cleared out of Rogers Arena. I'm pretty sure Edmonton had like 4 chances on our own power play to score a goal prior to the second period. And boom, bam, look at what happened. We got nothing done on that power play. And in the second period, the Oilers had all the momentum, and they took it to us. And that's what this is all about, right? Because I feel as if there's nothing more demoralizing other than a catastrophic injury in a hockey game than a catastrophic power play attempt, especially when you muster up 2 of those in a row. In other words, when your power play sucks, you suck. Look at this comment from Callum, man. Put VD in front of the other team's goalie, okay? Remember what happened, right? Zadorov in front of the net, Game 7 against the Oilers, trying to get a goal. What happened? It hit him. The puck hit him. It didn't hit the back of the net. It hit Nikita Zadorov. I could see some similar things happening if VD is out there in front of the net, being a screen option. Am I stupid for saying that this team could consider doing 2 units and having Joshua as the net front guy when he's back? I don't think I'm stupid. I think giving Dakota Joshua some more power play time in front of the net with his soft hands would bode well for not only his confidence, but for this team. Let's raise the ceiling of that player and see where it takes us. Anyways, let's get to the other side of the show. We'll talk more about that game last night. Can you guys let me know in the comments what you guys saw? Because I only saw the third period. I got stuff to do. I got books to read. I'm sorry. That being said, when I did watch the third period last night, I'm not going to front. I missed the game. I missed hockey in general because it was exciting. And I told myself that moving forward, I'm not missing any more preseason games. I'm starting full-time this thing called my hockey addiction ASAP. So, yeah, let me know. Andrew went to the game. He's one of the big commenters in the show. Break it down for me, okay? Andrew, you're going to take over the second half of the show. Let me know what you saw, and we'll talk about it on the other side of Locked On Canucks. But first, before we do so, we have to shout out a sponsor. Do I got to do an ad read? Trevor, how long are you in the washroom for? How much butter chicken and sour cream did you eat? And don't tell me that you slammed it down with a glass of 4% milk. Who we shouting out? Who are we shouting out? Oh, Game Time. My friends over at Game Time, man. Hey, like I said, dude, the hockey season around the corner, right? It's just the truth. And you're going to need tickets. And there's no better place to get tickets right now than Game Time, okay? It's just the truth. It's that place where you get the last-minute tickets. Yes, your last-minute tickets guaranteed. Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks, okay? That makes getting tickets for your favorite live events that much easier, okay? Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They also have what? What is this? The super deal and how good it is? You got to use Game Time, okay? I've used it. Last year, what's it? The Islanders game? It saved me a couple bucks. What did I do with that couple of bucks? 2 hot dogs straight to the mouth. Easy. Slammed them. And I didn't dip the hot dogs in sour cream, okay? I'm not like Trevor Beggs. Game Time, man. They got their thing. They also got, the ability to give you your seat views. They got the ability to give you that Game Time ticket coverage, right? Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. And man, did I say this again? The lowest price guaranteed on all your tickets, okay? It's just the truth. You know what to do, okay? Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On NHL. That's LOCKEDON NHL to get $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? You know the deal, okay? What time is it? Is it game time? I think so. One love. Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Trevor Beggs is actually in the lobby. He's no longer in the washroom anymore. And man, oh man, we're doing it. We're talking about, splitting up the power play units, doing our thing. We just spent the first 14 minutes of the show doing so. And it sounded confusing at times, but it also sounded like it made sense. It also sounded like you had a rough time in the washroom, because now the listeners do know. I know that sometimes you're like, oh, Kyle, you don't got to tell everyone everything, bro. We got to, we can't unveil everything about us. We can't sell our souls to the industry. But you know what? I was getting emotional. And I told the listeners that you did have butter chicken last night and you didn't have rice. So you used sour cream and then you slammed it down with a glass of 4% milk. So that's why you're late today. It's a white person thing. Okay, come on. Next time, just use white bread if you don't have rice. It still works.
No, I think that was an issue. Look, I can handle so much dairy. You would be shocked, man. And I'm a big milk drinker. Give me that 4% milk every day of the week. But you got to cook your chicken properly, man. And there's a little bit of pink in there. And I said, it's fine. I'm hungry. And I never did. It's a bad idea.
It is what it is, man. And you know what? We've all been there, man. We've all been there. We've all used the washroom and got paid to do so. Okay, it is what it is. We're only human beings. Okay. Speaking of being a human being, Daniel Sprong, obviously one of those. Before we dive into what he did in this preseason game yesterday, and more of your notes from that game, I did mention it just a bit. What do you see Daniel Sprong's role being on a potential power play unit number 2? And don't you think it's important for the team using that shot on the special teams? And if they're going to do so, maybe surrounding him with a guy like Pettersson. Does Pettersson get knocked down to power play unit 2? Because you can't just do the whole Garland, Höglander, Daniel Sprong, Philip Hronek, Carson Soucy type of deal. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's bump Pettersson down if you're going to split these units up. Tell Quinn Hughes you're going to play for 2 minutes on the power play. Give them Philip Hronek too and see what happens.
Yeah, I honestly, I love the idea of splitting up the power play, because I think we saw last season that first power play unit just get a little bit stale, a little bit hesitant at times. And look at the elite talent on this team, right? I mean, Miller, Hughes, Besser, and Pettersson, they're 4 great players, but it just wasn't really working last season. And look at the players on the peripherals who can make an impact, right? You got Jake DeBrusk, you got Daniel Sprong, you got Nils Höglander, you got Connor Garland, you got Philip Hronek, maybe even a Jonathan Lekkerimäki. So when I think of splitting up the top 2 power play units, my mind kind of goes in 2 different directions. It goes in the direction of you got to split up Miller and Hughes because those are the 2 main quarterbacks on the power play. Or do you go with kind of like an all-American unit with Miller, Hughes, and Besser, and then kind of have the European unit?
Whoa, why you got to come on, man?
Hronek. I'm just saying. Like they both have merits to it, right? Like your number 1 unit is, I would technically be the Miller Hughes Besser unit, right? But if you split up Miller and Hughes, then you kind of have two first units, if you see what I'm saying.
No, I don't think you need to split up Miller and Hughes. I think like putting Hughes on for 2 minutes and letting Miller and Hughes still develop that chemistry is a good thing, because I do think there's something lethal there. I really do. I also think that what was ultimately missing on that power play unit number one, which is Pettersson's confidence. That being said, I think when Pettersson lacks the confidence or just touches the puck less on the power play, it may not be the smartest thing now, especially, him being Mr. 11.6, right? You got to give this guy more responsibility, and he has the skill set to do so. So maybe by bumping him down a unit, quote unquote, and giving him the power to be, more of a quarterback on the power play, something else can happen because with him not touching the puck and it just going to Hughes and Miller, you kind of just see this guy as the one-timer option. And, maybe there's more to his game, okay? Anyways, we can't spend 20 minutes talking about power play unit number 2, okay? They're going to play 24 seconds a game, and we just wasted everyone's time. Let's talk about yesterday's game, okay? And I told Andrew, who was there, maybe he was in media row. Andrew's a low-key agent, okay? Nobody knows who this guy is, but he's always watching. And he was at the game, and I told him to break down what he saw, okay? Front row seats, and he said this, okay? He said Baines was all over the ice. I think in a good way. He was looking electric at some points, okay? I watched for a bit, but I saw what I seemed to deem as a player who was motivated, okay? Not happy with maybe all the shine other players are getting, and also more notably with his game so far in training camp. Andrew also says Juleson looks bigger and made smart passes. I love that. Daniel Sprong's speed is very noticeable. Lekaramaki has very insane hockey IQ. Love what that guy was doing in the neutral zone. He hasn't scored a goal yet. We haven't seen that one-timer yet. But in the preseason, I think it's much better for players like that, especially at his age, to just be good at all those other things that have you survive in the NHL, okay? Not get destroyed. And Pettersson was looking ready and playing hard. I do want to talk about those two guys, though, Sprong and Lekaramaki, okay? First off, with Daniel Sprong. I didn't know he was that fast. Did not know that. And if he's that fast all the time, holy. The Canucks will look so different offensively next season or this season.
Yeah, it was an interesting night because I think all the hype's been around Lekaramaki, right? And, Höglander looked pretty good in his first preseason game. And Daniel Sprong had one of those nights last night where he's like, don't forget about me. Because I think a lot of us are kind of penciling him into that. He's a top 6 option, but more likely that he'll play in the bottom 6. And, with a night like he had last night, I mean, look, Lekaramaki, the hockey IQ is there. We all see it. But then again, you got guys like Höglander and Sprong balling out, looking like they belong in the top 6. And it puts you in a situation where for Lekaramaki, again, it's not the end of the world for him to go to the AHL. In fact, it's probably a good thing for him to start the season in the AHL. Like for me, like for the rest of the preseason here, 4 games to go, Lekaramaki absolutely has to blow the doors off and be one of the best players on this team. And he was in the first night. I don't know if so much last night. He was good, but not one of the best players on the ice. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely going to blow the doors off and be one of the best guys on the ice if he's going to make this team, because the way Höglander and Sprong looked in their first 2 games, the competition is stiff for those top 6 spots.
Nothing wrong with it being stiff and hard to make this team. Okay. And again, Trevor, can you just run off this point or run off my imagination going wild? Okay. I did not know Daniel Sprong was that fast. I really didn't. Yeah. I thought he was just smart, cerebral. I'm not going to say he was slow, but I didn't know he was that fast. Like there's a quickness to his game, and you can tell a lot of that quickness stems from him just wanting to make plays. Like he has that gear to him. But again, if he's a vital part of the top 6 and not Lekaramaki, and Lekaramaki develops, it's going to be still fascinating to see how different that top 6 looks, because they have a guy like Daniel Sprong who has a lot to play for too. And again, the speed, Trevor, the speed. Did you know that about him?
I did. And here's the thing, right? Like, he's a fast guy. The NHL Edge data backs it up. Woo! And, part of the issue about Daniel Sprong, his game is that, yeah, he flies up the ice offensively, but does he fly back with the same pace defensively, right? Because he has it in him to be a good defensive player. He has it in him to get back. And often he just hasn't been that guy. So I'm curious if we're going to unlock that side of him in Vancouver. I mean, look, Nils Höglander in the first game of the preseason, I thought he had a couple good blocks, a couple good defensive zone breakups. He looked like a guy who's been working on his defensive game throughout the offseason and made that a focus. So for Daniel Sprong, yes, he's fast. Yes, he's got sublime skill. We got not even a taste of it. We got smacked with it last night. But what's he going to be like on the defensive side of the puck? That's still a big question.
And during this early phase of the Vancouver Canucks and their transition to being a more offensively explosive team, I think Rick Tocchet is going to be a little bit patient when it comes to easing up on Sprong's defensive ability, maybe being a bit short when it comes to, the comparison that would happen with other players on this team. Like, you know how we're talking about Lecker Mackey, right? Like his ability to just use his hockey IQ to not be defensively stupid. Real talk, like you can tell, like this guy is not, I don't think he's going to be caught out of the position. Like I'm surprised at his hockey IQ outside the offensive zone, because to me, it seems like at his age and also coinciding with his skill set that he has offensively, it seems kind of elite. Like he can read the play and not be out of position straight up. But again, I think Rick Tocchet will allow Sprong to find his game. And real talk, I don't know much about Daniel Sprong. I haven't seen all of his interviews in the past and whatnot, but I feel as if there's a level of motivation in that guy's life that he hasn't had yet, which is a douchebag thing for me to say, because now I'm assuming. But 1 year on his deal, 1 year contract, has scored 40 goals almost in his last 2 years, 20 and 18, a 40-point player, should be getting paid more. And I think that like he makes a statement this year and he gets that contract that his family and himself have been dreaming for. So we're going to get the best out of him. And because of that, he'll be back checking, man.
He'll be back checking. There we go, buddy. Daniel Sprong, the back check, getting it done. Kyle, we should still have taken another ad break here before you wrap up, don't we? Sorry, I hopped in late here.
Oh, you do. And you have to do 2 here, okay? Do the math, okay? Let's not give people the scenes behind the curtains that much, but you gotta do I just messaged you on the side, okay?
All right, sounds good. Well, we're gonna shout out a couple sponsors here and be right back here on Locked On Canucks. All right. Let's start by shouting out our friends over at Game Time. Okay, you know there's no other place you should be buying tickets.
FanDuel. I did the Game Time.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, my bad. Keep it a little bit. Got FanDuel, baby. Okay. All right, on FanDuel, you know there's no other place you should be going to bet on some action for NHL, NFL, and for NFL's fans. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You can start with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Tonight, the Cowboys and the Giants. Cowboys minus 5.5-point favorites against the G-Men. But you know what? Those Cowboys, they're struggling to stop the run, man. I'm not trusting the Cowboys. I'm not trusting either of these teams. I might stay away from it, but if you want to bet on it, make sure you go do so on FanDuel and visit FanDuel.com to place your bets. All right, let's shout out our friends over at Indeed, okay? The summer's over, and it's time to get off your rear end and look for a job. And if you're hiring, you need Indeed, because they are your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and the matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch that busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And you know why I love Indeed? It's because they make fast things look. Hey, they leverage over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, and their matching engine that's constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Listeners of the show, you'll get a $75 sponsored job credit. Wow. To get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Okay, we back doing this, ending off this episode of Locked On Canucks. Hit the like button, subscribe to the show if you're new to the program. And again, for the 150th time, every like goes a long way, man. Every like goes a long way. You know, no longer am I, proceeding with the second version of my vocal surgery, right? The people brought me back. I don't have to pay for that, but I am balding. Bro. And, I told this story, and it's an emotional story. My girlfriend, I asked her about, how my haircut was looking when I got one a couple weeks ago. And the first thing she said was, yo, to be honest, I'm noticing your bald spot more. It's like, whoa, but I didn't ask about that. I asked about how my haircut's looking. So, again, do math. We do a lot of math on this show. We also do a lot of reading on this show as well. Look at this comment from Chris Favelli. What a name, dude. Favelli. Chris Favelli saying that Pavel Bure never played defense, okay? always first out of the zone. Do you think defense is overrated, man? Trevor?
For some players, I think it probably is. And you know what the ironic part is some of you probably noticed, Daniel Sprong wearing an old number worn by Pavel Bure at one time, number 91, even if it wasn't maybe his most commonly used number in Vancouver. But I mean, look at a guy like Alex Ovechkin, a guy who has traditionally not played a lot of defense in his career, but is going to potentially set the record for most goals ever scored. The thing is, it takes a really special elite player for you to ignore that side of the game, and you just can't be costing your team. And I can't say I've done the deep dive on Daniel Sprong to the point where I know that he's costing his team defensively, but you see it in the way he backchecks in the past that he certainly isn't the first guy back. He's not really aggressive at the defensive zone. And yeah, I think he can get burned from time to time there. Oh, Pavel Bure was 96. Oh my God, I made a mistake.
That's what I was going to say. I was like 91. He was 96, bro. And Trevor, what did this butter chicken go straight to your head or what, man? Where'd you get this butter chicken from? Safeway?
Yeah, undercooked Superstore chicken. That's my bad.
There you go, man. Come on, man. Getting your butter chicken from Superstore, man. I think Pavel Bure wore number 91. I'm not going to lie, though. That Daniel Sprong goal, bro, let's be honest. That looked like a young Pavel Bure.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's what got me convinced that he wore 91 back in the day, but my bad.
Straight up, man. Straight up. Look at Infamous, okay, saying this comment, and I do think about this every now and then, and maybe this is something that we have to dive into after the end of preseason, so we can kind of have a little brief about the overall organizational stature as it stands right now, right? Because Infamous is saying he's saying that he's thinking how much the organization has changed when management changed. It's so crazy because it is, and for a team that hasn't had a lot of draft capital or quantity of picks, especially in the first couple of rounds over the last handful of years, even with this management crew, you could tell that their ability to take things so seriously is rubbing off on some of their prospect / depth pieces in Abbotsford, because the floor is so much better than it was. And that's not possible if those same group of prospects are dealing with another management group or another bit of philosophy that's been, sprinkled over this organization. Because I feel as if everyone who wears blue and green takes this ish seriously, and improving in hockey and doing all the right things, whether it be as an individual or to better suit the system, is first and foremost your job, and is going to essentially, help your dreams out, which is interesting because this team's only been winning for 22 seconds. So the mantras and the philosophies and the culture completely changed based on, again, the tutelage up at the top.
Yeah, and you said you think about this now and then. I think about it every freaking day, man. Are you kidding
me?
It was so bad here for a long time, man. With Jim Benning at the helm, I think 98% of fans knew how bad it was. There's a few Benning bros out there, but it is night and day, complete night and day.
Trevor? You know what's crazy? Sorry to cut you off, but it's like not even the fans knew it. I know the players knew it. Whether it be the depth pieces, whether it be the depth like in Abbotsford, like the players at the cream of the crop in Abbotsford, or the depth pieces and some of the star players in Vancouver, in the back of their minds are like, yo, this ain't going nowhere because we got Jim Benning. And imagine going to work every day when your boss is just a total embarrassment. Hate to say that, but in comparison to the rest of the NHL, you were being led by a bottom 3 general manager, and it's not about having fun, but it is about taking it serious because it's hard to win in this league.
Really hard to win, and especially when you have a bottom 1 GM. No one was worse than Jim Benning. He was in that Shirelli, maybe even Pierre Dorian category, man. You're just awful. And things have changed in Vancouver, man. Changed for the better. And like Andrew said in the comments, this core, including management, will take us to a Stanley Cup. Let's go, baby. But it all starts with that preseason hockey. I'm shout out one more guy from last night. Carson Soucy really caught my eye. I've said it. I might be the only one in this market putting the pressure on him, but I think it's a big jump going from a bottom pairing guy to a number 3 guy. And he had the wheels last night. He had the defensive breakups. He had the PK breakups. He had the speed getting in the neutral zone. He saw some moments from Juleson and Desharnais as well. And obviously Hughes is a freaking alien. But Carson Soucy, to me, it was a really good start of the season for him. And Vinny D had some moments on his pairing too. So I know they played a AHL Calgary squad, but Carson Soucy looked like he's ready to rock last night.
Dude, I'm going to say it again, man. Carson Soucy is Chris Tanev-like. He
Or
is.
Heavy.
Or who?
Or Chris Tanev Heavy.
Oh, I thought you said Victor Hedman. I was like, whoa, relax, dude. Yo, this super sore butter chicken, man, doing crazy things. Last question though, we have to talk about it. We barely talked about it. Jake DeBrusk scoring 2 goals yesterday. Natural fit with Petey. I felt as if, again, only watched really the last 20 minutes. Was paying attention to the Discord, paying attention to the comments on Twitter, paying attention to some of the commentary after the game. It didn't sound as if those 3, Liker Mackey included, had like the most dynamic game against an AHL club, because it's the preseason. You're trying to get your feet wet and just trying to, get the speed right? It's not so much about the chemistry to me, like, especially in the first 2 periods of the games like that. But to see how it ended with Pettersson 3-on-3, albeit making a intuitive, beautiful one-touch pass in the crease to DeBrusk, like, I don't know. I feel as if the chemistry is going to be there. And I know people may sound like I'm crazy or think I'm crazy for gassing up that pass so much, considering all the pressure on Elias Pettersson. And I know some people in the comments were talking about him being a little bit invisible for most of that game, but that was a sick pass, bro. Like, watching that live and seeing Hughes pass the puck to Pettersson, I had no idea that PD would have the time and space to make that play to DeBrusk, but he did, and he knew it was going to work.
Yeah, I think for good chunks of last night, it's preseason, right? I wouldn't say Hughes is going to half speed. Hughes just looks like he's miles ahead of everyone. But PD and DeBrusk kind of look like they're playing at half speed a little bit. But it's more about the chemistry between the 2 players and hitting their passes. I think they did that for the most part. And obviously in overtime, nice little goal to get a win over the Calgary's AHL affiliate there.
Yeah, beautiful times. Shout out to Jake DeBrusk. This team, man, not only got a lot faster, but it's also obvious, again, that they just made sure that they just brought in the right guys. The right guys that could fit under this Tocchet spell / this Tocchet science that is being spewed out on the daily. And that's another thing we got to touch on, because the more and more I look at this team and watch them play, even in preseason games, how chippy they are, bro, they are taking on that Rick Tocchet-like energy. Straight up. It's beautiful to see, because at the end of the road, there is a champion. There is a champion in this team, and the leadership, man, for real, man. Trevor, man, we got to get some champions on this locked on thing, man. We gotta supply the team with some more. This is the Canucks are making me want to surround us with some champions. Okay, is Dave Pratt looking for a job?
Dave Pratt. I thought you were just referring to the fact that you and I both won ball hockey titles, but maybe we'll hit up Dave Pratt as well. And yeah, I saw you pulled the comment, getting called out on calling Pavel Bure at 96. It's that butter chicken, man, going to my head. Interestingly enough, here are the only 4 Canucks that have worn number 91, and they're all within the past couple of years. Jared McCann was the first. Juho Lammikko, Vitaly Kravtsov, and Nikita Zadorov are the only 4 Canucks to wear 91. Daniel Sprong will be the 5th. The more you know, baby.
The more you know, man. Okay, let's sign out of here. Got a client coming in. One love to you and you and you and you for all, watching this, Come on, man. We're going on the same time as Sakaris and Price right now, man. We're trying to get back to the mornings, but things are happening, man. Butter chicken one day, traffic the other. And we just appreciate you guys, being here with us. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get this party started, man. Things are about to change in October, and I'm excited to show the people what we got.
Hey, man, who knows? Maybe I'll, if we get more likes and subscribers, start making more money, maybe I'll ditch the corporate world, do this like 4 times a day, man. Let's go, baby. Shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners, the first-time listeners, the new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube. We love each and every one of you. If you want to help us out, make sure you go subscribe and like on YouTube. Go follow and leave a 5-star review on the podcast platform. To end the week, we'll touch on any news and notes that break regarding practices, injury updates, cuts, all that stuff. Preview the weekend ahead. I also want to touch on why the Canucks prospect pool might be the best in the NHL and what's all behind it, baby. More hype to come on another episode of Locked On Canucks. But for now, we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Cal Bound. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.